Maligayang bagong taon and Happy New Year. My name is Reyes Dela Cruz, and I am the author and illustrator of a book that I am very excited to share with you today entitled When Lola Speaks. So this is a story about a young boy who struggles to understand his grandmother because English is not her first language. So I hope you enjoy it, and let's begin. When I was just a little child, I asked my mommy why. Does grandma say such funny words like cows or French fries? Sometimes she calls him a her, they a them, or she a he, and sometimes I don't know at all what she's saying to me. And when it is time to eat, she tells me kain na. She asks me if I want too big, but I am still so small. Then she gives me too much food, and then she gives me more. She tells me to eat all you can when I don't want any more. Mommy gave a gentle look and chuckled just a bit. She then told me a story that I would not forget. Your Lola is my hero, and one day she'll be yours too. But it takes a special kind of listening to hear what she says to you. She comes from half a world away, where quite some time ago, voyagers sailed and made their home in an archipelago. There were no words to describe all the beauty they could see, so they made up their own names and words, and their language was set free. Then one day, a visitor came and took it all away. The visitor thought his words were better and decided he should stay. As time went on and years went by, the voyagers forgot their names and special words they made, the more the visitor taught. But the visitor did not have words for things he hadn't seen, and the language that the voyagers made had a name for almost everything. So the voyagers decided that they should take the lead and made sure that the visitor knew it was time for him to leave. The voyagers began to practice what they knew all along, that the words they made up for themselves made their people strong. These words help us remember where our family is from. They are memories of our ancestors full of hope that we'd become. People who would do big things and help each other grow, who only become stronger the more words that they know. So while your Lola might just say a few words differently, she has so many other ways to tell you what she means. Listen to the words she says that are different from your own, and you will be surprised at how much more your hearing grows. So I listened to my mom, and when my grandma had come near, I took a breath and made sure that I opened up my ears. But the words that Lola said that were not the same as mine still did not make sense, and I tried time after time. I followed her around the house for what seemed like forever, listening and hoping that my hearing would be better. I'm glad that I had worked so hard because I caught her one night, stretching her lips in the mirror so she'd get her words just right. I followed her to the garden where she kept her vegetables. Spinach is her favorite one, but I think it's terrible. When she said to get espinacs, that is when I learned. She just says her letters bigger, so she is better heard. Maybe that is why her because becomes becows. She has to spell out every letter just to tell me how. I have not been listening the best way that I can, so I will spend more time with her until I can better understand. I guess it's hard for Lola to be so far away from her home and not be able to say all she wants to say. I bet that she could tell me so many more stories. Maybe I can ask her to teach these words to me. Then we went and took our dog Toby to the park. He's a good boy, but Lola doesn't like it when he barks. Tell her to be quiet with covered ears, she said. Toby is a him, I told her as I tapped his head. He or she, him or her, to me, they're all the same. Doesn't matter what you are if I know you by your name. In Filipino, we use siya, whether boy or girl. Who you are, not what you are, is more important in this world. You are very good at English, and I know that I am not. But I also want to make sure that my own words are not lost. I'd like to practice more and more, but then who would protect the words and phrases that my Lola also used and kept? Then I remembered the story my mom had just told me about the voyagers and visitors and their history. I wanted to have my Lola speak English more clearly, and here she was fighting to protect these words for me. Like a warrior of words, she wielded more than one language. She practiced them so carefully to keep a sharper edge when speaking to and understanding everyone she met, even if her English was not as good or fluent yet. When I got older, she'd still say, "Kain na," when I came home. Please don't give me too much food, I told her with a groan. I give you lots so you remember what is good for you. These are flavors that your family long ago prepared for you. And then I give you tubig so you drink healthier. I see you drinking soda, so you should also have water. I laughed so hard that all the water spilled out of my mouth. I had always thought too big was how much food she would take out. Thank you, Lola, I said as I turned to her and smiled. Say salamat po, she said. You have much to learn, my child. I told her I am listening and learning all the words you share, so that you can trust that I will keep this treasure in my care. Then my mom walked in the kitchen to see the mess I made. It sounds like someone learned a lesson, she said as she made a plate. I learned new ways to listen and that my family is unique, with lessons I can only learn whenever Lola speaks. A portion of this book features ancient script that the Philippines is now reintroducing. So for today's activity, we're going to be writing the words Lola and Apo using this script. I hope that this activity encourages you to practice and learn more Filipino vocabulary. So if you're ready, let's begin. Okay, so for this particular script, there are characters that are based on syllables versus individual letters. So for today's activity, to get Lola, we're actually going to be starting with the symbol for La. And to do that, we're going to start at the top left-hand corner. We're going to draw to the right in kind of a sideways S. From the middle, we're going to draw two squiggly lines down, and we have the symbol for La. Now, since we're writing the word Lola, we're going to be using the same symbol and making one small change. So for Lo, we're going to do the same symbol. So again, from the top, left-hand corner, sweeping over to the right, starting in the middle and doing two squiggly lines down. And to make the symbol for La into Lo, we're going to make a small mark at the bottom, and we have the word Lola. Okay, so our next word is Apo. So we'll start with the symbol for A. So this one goes from right to left. So we're going to make a curve that comes up just a little bit higher than the right side. from here, we're going to start from the left and make a cross. And then one more starting from the left that stops in the middle of the curve that we made. And that is the symbol for ah. Now, the next symbol is actually the symbol for pa, and we're going to make a small adjustment to it. So for this symbol, we're going to start a little bit higher than where we started for ah. We're going from from right to left, and making a straight line across. So from here, we're going to give this a little foot, maybe just in the middle, and that is the symbol that we have for pa. Now, since we want this to be a po, we're going to do the same thing that we did earlier, and we're going to add a symbol at the bottom to make this po. Now, for the symbols we've made so far, they've all had the marking at the bottom. If I wanted to make this sound into P, for example, I would take out that mark and I would add it to the top. So the symbols that you have start with the base and 2 adjustments. If I want them to be an E or an I would put that little dot at the top. And if I wanted a sound for an O or a U at the end, I would put that dot at the bottom. So in this case, since we're looking for a po, we add that critical mark at the bottom. And we have a po. Thank you so much for reading the story along with me today. I hope that you continue to make memories with your loved ones, including your lolos and your lolas. In honor of our Lola, we are featuring this particular stool. It's a family heirloom that's been passed down for generations. She used it to raise all 21 of her apos, or her grandchildren. We would eat on this stool, we would play around this stool, so we are going to continue passing down this piece of furniture, as I hope you would also continue to pass down the language. So once again, thank you so much. Maraming salamat, ingat, and take care.